I've always been an avid hunter. There's something exhilarating about venturing deep into the woods, tracking elusive prey, and emerging victorious. But little did I know that one fateful hunting trip would forever change my perception of the wild. My name is Jonathan, a rugged outdoorsman hailing from a small town nestled in the heart of the United States. Growing up surrounded by nature's beauty, hunting became not just a pastime, but a way of life for me. From a young age, I watched my father skillfully track game, passing on his knowledge and passion to me. It was through his guidance that I developed a deep respect for the natural world and a profound understanding of the delicate balance between predator and prey. As the years went by, my love for hunting only grew stronger. It became a primal calling, drawing me to the untamed expanses of the wilderness. I spent countless hours honing my skills, perfecting my aim, and immersing myself in the intricacies of tracking elusive creatures. For me, the hunt was not just about claiming a trophy, but about connecting with nature on a profound level. On that fateful autumn morning, the air carried a sense of anticipation as I ventured into the mist-shrouded woods. Dressed in earth-toned camouflage, my trusty rifle held firmly in my hands, I felt a surge of excitement course through my veins. The wilderness beckoned, promising adventure and the chance to test my mettle against the cunning instincts of the animals I pursued. As I treaded lightly through the damp undergrowth, every step was deliberate, every sense alert. The forest was my cathedral, and I was its devoted worshiper. I relished in the silence broken only by the rustle of leaves beneath my boots and the distant calls of the wild. It was in these moments that I felt truly alive, at one with nature and my primal instincts. The pursuit of elusive prey was more than just a physical endeavor, it was a mental game of patience and strategy. Hours would pass in quiet anticipation, studying tracks, listening for subtle sounds, and interpreting the signs left behind by the creatures that roamed these ancient woods. Hunting taught me the importance of observation, of understanding the habits and patterns of the animals, and adapting my approach accordingly. But little did I know that this particular hunting trip would push me to the very limits of my skill and endurance. The forest, once a familiar ally, would become a malevolent entity that toyed with my fears and turned the hunter into the hunted. Hours passed, and the forest seemed to come alive around me. Leaves rustled, unseen creatures scurried through the underbrush, and an occasional hoot echoed in the distance. But then, the atmosphere shifted. The sounds of the forest faded, and an oppressive silence settled in. Unease crept into my bones, but I brushed it off as mere paranoia. I continued my pursuit, navigating through the undergrowth with care. As I ventured deeper, the trees grew denser, obscuring the sunlight. It was as if the forest itself wanted to swallow me whole. Suddenly, I heard a twig snap behind me. My heart skipped a beat, and I spun around, raising my rifle. But there was nothing there. The woods remained eerily still. I shrugged it off as an animal or perhaps my imagination playing tricks on me. I pressed forward, my grip tightening on the rifle. Time lost its meaning in that labyrinth of trees. It felt like an eternity, every step taking me farther from the safety of civilization. The air turned cold, and a chill crawled up my spine. Something was off. The forest no longer seemed natural, but rather an entity with a sinister intent. I decided to call off the hunt and find my way back. But when I turned around, I was met with a disheartening sight. The path I had walked on had vanished. There was no trace of the way I came, as if the forest had rearranged itself to keep me trapped within its clutches. Panic welled up inside me, and I picked up my pace, hoping to find an opening. But the forest had other plans. The trees seemed to close in on me, their branches intertwining to form a dense barrier. They snatched at my clothes and scratched my skin, drawing blood. It was as if they were alive, malevolent creatures intent on keeping me captive. As I sprinted through the tangled undergrowth, my heart pounding like a war drum, an unsettling presence settled over the forest. The once dormant spirits of the woods awakened, feeding off my fear, as if drawing energy from my panic. The air grew thick with an otherworldly presence, and the malicious whispers intensified, filling my ears with a cacophony of dark voices. It was then, amidst the chaos, that I caught a glimpse of movement from the corner of my eye. I dared not turn my head fully, afraid of what I might see. But the fleeting image was enough to send shivers down my spine. A hulking figure, gaunt and emaciated, with eyes that glowed with an unholy hunger. A Wendigo. The legends and tales of the Wendigo had always seemed like mere folklore, stories told to scare children around a campfire. Yet here, in this forsaken forest, the myth became a tangible nightmare. The creature moved with a twisted grace, its elongated limbs allowing it to navigate the dense foliage effortlessly. Its claws scraped against the tree trunks, leaving deep gouges as it closed in on me. With each passing moment, the Wendigo's presence grew stronger, its malevolence permeating the air. The forest itself seemed to bend and contort, aiding its pursuit. Vines snaked around my ankles, attempting to trip me, while roots rose from the ground like grasping hands, reaching out to ensnare me in their grip. I summoned every ounce of strength and willpower, pushing my body to its limits. But the relentless pursuit of the Wendigo never waned. Its guttural growls echoed through the forest, a constant reminder of its proximity, driving me to the edge of madness. I stumbled forward, gasping for breath, my body drained and trembling. The voices grew louder, taunting and tormenting me with their distorted whispers. Shadows danced and swirled, taking on grotesque forms, their eyes gleaming with a malevolent glee. It felt as if the very essence of the forest had transformed into a twisted stage, with me as the unwilling actor in a horrific play. But just as despair threatened to consume me entirely, a glimmer of hope emerged. A clearing appeared ahead, bathed in a faint, ethereal light. It beckoned to me like a beacon of salvation, promising respite from the relentless pursuit. Summoning my last reserves of strength, I pushed myself forward, my legs burning with exhaustion. The Wendigo's snarls grew louder, its presence just inches behind me. But with a final burst of determination, I burst into the clearing, the light engulfing me in its protective embrace. In that moment, the forest seemed to recoil, its grip on me loosening. The Wendigo's roars turned into anguished wails, echoing through the trees as it retreated into the darkness. I collapsed to the ground, my chest heaving, a mixture of relief and lingering dread coursing through my veins. The clearing was a sanctuary, a fragile barrier against the malevolence of the forest. I knew, deep down, that I had narrowly escaped the clutches of the Wendigo. From that day forward, I would carry the scars, both physical and emotional, as a reminder of the hunter who became the hunted. The woods would forever be tainted, a place where nightmares lurk and the line between reality and the supernatural blurs. I ran, stumbling through the underbrush, desperate to escape. But with every step, the forest seemed to mock me. Shadows danced at the corner of my vision, whispering voices echoed through the trees. My own footsteps sounded distorted, as if there were others following right behind me. Exhausted and terrified, I collapsed to my knees. I was lost, broken, and resigned to my fate. The forest had claimed me as its prey, turning the hunter into the hunted. I closed my eyes, ready to accept my final moments. But then, a distant light flickered through the trees, slicing through the darkness. Hope surged within me, and I staggered toward it. As I neared, the light grew brighter, casting an ethereal glow on the forest floor. It led me to a narrow path, a way out of this nightmare. With newfound determination, I followed the light, pushing through the tangle of branches and thorns. The forest fought against my escape, but I was not willing to succumb. And finally, I burst through the tree-line into the embrace of the familiar world. As I stumbled back into civilization, I looked back at the forest, my heart still pounding in my chest. The trees stood silently, as if mocking my ordeal. From that day on, I swore to never set foot in those haunted woods again. The hunter had been humbled, the thrill of the chase replaced by a lingering fear of the unknown that lurks within the depths of nature's embrace.